I crave for the vast sky and real colors. I crave for flowers that make the air fragrant. What an incredibly vivid way to kick things off today. This quote actually comes straight from a trekker's travelogue after they experienced one of the most breathtaking alpine environments on Earth, and it just perfectly sets the mood for what we're about to explore. So let's dive right in. Welcome to this explainer on the Valley of Flowers. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this majestic, yet surprisingly heavily regulated Himalayan domain. We're going to check out the mind-blowing natural aesthetics, the deeply inspiring history of the area, and then get into the nitty-gritty practical steps and the very strict rules for actually visiting or filming this protected ecosystem. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with the valley's floral magic, move into the Himalayan blue poppy, discuss surviving the 2013 floods, look at timing your perfect trek, and wrap up with the rules for filming forests. All right, Section 1, the valley's floral magic. The sheer exclusivity of this ecosystem is honestly staggering. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is tucked way up in the Garhwal Himalayas of Uttarakhand, India, and it's a sanctuary for over 500 species of bright alpine flowers. But here's the catch. Because it's buried under snow for most of the year, it is strictly open only from June 1st until the end of October. You've got this tiny, narrow window to witness the phenomenon, which makes pulling off a successful trip feel incredibly special. And standing there, it's an intense, full-body sensory overload. Trekkers who visit during peak bloom talk about deep valleys that just suddenly open up into these wildly colorful meadows. One visitor even noted feeling literal dizziness just from the overwhelmingly sweet fragrances filling the air. It's often described as a hobbit-like landscape. A place that feels like it was pulled straight out of a fantasy novel rather than the real world. Moving on to Section 2, the Himalayan blue poppy. Talk about nature's resilience, right? Picture this, incredibly delicate, vibrant blue poppy that seemingly defies all logic, just thriving right out of a harsh, rocky outcrop. To protect themselves from brutal mountain winds, these plants intentionally bloom near rocky screes. It's just such a striking contrast, something so fragile, completely conquering such an unforgiving, high-altitude environment. Scientifically, it's known as Myconopsis oculata, but it's appropriately nicknamed the Queen of the Himalayas, and it's actually the official state flower of Ladakh. But it isn't just eye candy. This perennial herb packs some serious medicinal value, boasting antipyretic and analgesic properties used to relieve different ailments. Though unfortunately, because it's so valuable, it's sadly threatened by overcollection in the wild. Section 3, surviving the 2013 floods. The story here is just pure resilience. Back in 2013, massive floods absolutely devastated this region. The valley was completely destroyed and rendered entirely inaccessible. Yet, astoundingly, the natural landscape bounced back in just a matter of months. Nature literally picked up its broken pieces and bloomed again, painting the valley in those rich colors once more, like it was just flat out refusing to be defeated. And, that resilience extends directly to the people and the wildlife there, too. Following the disaster, the locals banded together in this incredible collaborative effort to rebuild the essential infrastructure. Today, you'll find hikers of literally all age groups tackling these trails together, which is a massive testament to human willpower. Plus, there's a really profound harmony with the local wildlife. Bears and other wild animals live in the area, but they generally respect human space. They mostly only come down into the valleys during the harsh winters to find food, long after the tourists have packed up and gone home. All right, Section 4. Timing your perfect trek. Figuring out when to go is basically a choose-your-own-adventure situation, entirely dependent on what you value most. If you want the absolute peak floral spectacle, like hundreds of species all blooming at once, you've got to aim for mid-July to mid-August. But be warned, this is the monsoon season. You're going to deal with heavy afternoon rains, slippery trails, and pretty massive crowds making the pilgrimage to Yerbai Himkund Sahib. On the flip side, if you value clear skies, unobstructed mountain views, and quiet solitude, September is your golden window. The rains vanish, the air gets crisp, but the trade-off is that the vibrant flowers are starting to wilt, getting replaced by the golden amber colors of autumn. Whichever season you end up choosing, the physical reality of the trek is the exact same. You're looking at a 13-kilometer hike from the base at Pulna or Govindghat up to the Ghangaria base camp. From there, it's another 4-kilometer trek directly into the valley itself. And heads up, food options on the trail are incredibly sparse. Seasoned trekkers highly recommend bringing your own fuel. Stuff like dry fruits and energy snacks or chocolate bars are absolute lifesavers out there. And if you're braving the monsoon, do not even think about showing up without proper waterproof gear and sturdy trekking poles.
Finally, Section 5. Rules for filming forests.
Now, if you're a storyteller looking to capture this magic on camera, listen it closely. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, operating through the India Cinehub, has some very rigid guidelines. They explicitly do not accept applications for documentary films, AV commercials, or music videos. Period. Permission is tightly restricted, primarily just to feature films, TV or web shows, and reality series. And before you even start filling out the online application, you have to pay a processing fee of $225. Make sure you note this. That fee is strictly non-refundable under any circumstances. Whether your project gets a green light or a hard no, that money is gone. Let's walk through the exact steps for this. First, you submit your online application along with that non-refundable fee. Second, a designated expert from a ministry panel is going to thoroughly evaluate your script. Third, if they think it's necessary, a government liaison officer will be attached to your crew. Though, surprisingly enough, the government of India actually covers the expenses for that officer. Finally, if everything checks out, you can expect permission to be granted in about 3 weeks, assuming there aren't any deeper security consultations needed.
Because this region is so fragile, getting in requires an absolute mountain of paperwork. We're talking a detailed script, tabular passport details for your entire crew, and a full itemized list of any imported equipment. But the real kicker here is the no objection letter. If your project portrays any living personality as a character, you absolutely must get their written consent before you apply, just to prevent any defamation or libel suits. If it's an international co-production, that official treaty agreement has to be uploaded too. The government literally leaves no stone unturned here.
So we've covered the surreal wonder of the blooming poppies, the mind-blowing resilience of the valley post-flood, the practicalities of timing your hike, and the pretty rigid realities of filming there. I want to leave you with this final thought. When you finally answer the call of that vast sky and fragrant air, how are you going to experience this fragile ecosystem? Will you brave the heavy rains as a peak season pilgrim? Will you seek the quiet autumn as a solitude-seeking trekker? Or will you navigate the intense bureaucracy as a storyteller? The choice and the adventure is entirely up to you. Thanks for hanging out, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next explainer.